Hi guys, today we're going to be reading this book Corduroy by Don Freeman. Before we get started reading the book, I would just like you to describe my main character for me. You can just think about it or write it down. I'm going to give you a couple seconds to really think about that and then we'll begin reading. Alright. Corduroy is a bear who once lived in a toy department of a big store. Day after day, he waited with all the other animals and dolls for someone to come along and take him home. The store was always filled with shoppers buying all sorts of things, but no one ever seemed to want a small bear in green overalls. Then one morning, a young girl stopped and looked straight into Corduroy's bright eyes. "Oh, Mommy," she said, "look, there's the very bear I've always wanted." "Not today, dear," her mother sighed. "I've spent too much already, and besides, he doesn't look very new. He's lost a button to one of his shoulder straps." Corduroy watched them sadly as they walked away. "I didn't know I'd lost a button," he said to himself. "Tonight, I'll go see if I can find it." Alright, I just want to stop right here and ask a couple questions. Have you guys ever been to a store and your parents said no to buying you something? And the next question would be, I want you guys to predict how you thought Corduroy lost his button and if he will find it later in the book. Like I said, I'm going to give you a couple seconds to think about that, write it down, and then we'll continue. Alright. Later that evening, when all the shoppers had gone and the doors were shut and locked, Corduroy climbed carefully down his shelf and began searching everywhere on the floor for his button. Suddenly, he felt the floor moving underneath him. Quite by accident, he had stepped onto an escalator, and up he went. Could this be the mountain, he wondered? I think I've always wanted to climb a mountain. He stepped off the escalator as it reached the next floor, and there, before his eyes, was the most amazing sight. Tables and chairs and lamps and sofas and rows of beds. "This must be a palace," Corduroy gasped. "I guess I've always wanted to live in a palace." He wandered around, admiring the furniture. "This must be a bed," he said. "I've always wanted to sleep in a bed." And up he crawled onto a large, thick mattress. All at once he saw something small and round. "Why, there's my button," he cried. And he tried to pick it up. But like all the other buttons on the mattress, it was tied down tight. He yanked and pulled with both his paws until, pop! Off came the button, and off the mattress Corduroy tumbled. Bang! Onto the tall floor lamp. Over it fell with a crash. Corduroy didn't know, but there was something else awake in the store. The night watchman was going his rounds on the floor above when he heard the crash came dashing down the escalator. "Now who in the world did that?" he exclaimed. "Someone must be hiding around here." He flashed his light under and over the sofas and beds until he came to the biggest bed of all, and there he saw two fuzzy brown ears sticking up from under the covers. "Hello," he said. "How did you get upstairs?" The watchman tucked Corduroy under his arm and carried him down the escalator and set him on the shelf in the toy store department with the other animals and dolls. Alright, I want to stop right here and ask one more question. How do you believe Corduroy felt when he didn't find his button? Can you relate to that feeling? Again, think about it and write it down, and I'll give you a couple seconds. Alright. Corduroy was just waking up when the first customers came into the store in the morning, and there, looking at him, with a wide, warm smile, was the same little girl he'd seen the day before. "I'm Lisa," she said, "and you're going to be my very own bear. Last night I counted what I've saved in my piggy bank, and my mother said I could bring you home." Shall I put him in a box for you? The saleslady asked. Oh, no thanks, Lisa answered, and she carried Corduroy home in her arms. She ran all the way up the 4 flights of stairs into her family's apartment and straight to her room. Corduroy blinked. There was a big chair and a chest of drawers, and alongside a girl-sized bed stood a little bear just the right size for him. The room was small, nothing like the enormous palace in the department store. This must be home, he said. I know I've always wanted a home. Lisa sat down with Corduroy on her lap and began to sew a button to his overalls. I like you the way that you are, she said, but you'll be more comfortable with your shoulder strap fastened. You must be a friend, Corduroy said. I've always wanted a friend. Me too, said Lisa, and gave him a big hug. The end. Now that we've read through this book, I just want you guys to sit there and write down some themes that you saw throughout the book. Give me examples that support that theme throughout the book. I'm going to give you a couple seconds to do that. All right, that is all for today, guys. I hope you like this book just as much as I did, and have a great rest of your day.